Now then, people, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when this goes out. Of course, it is FA Cup time. It's Leeds United versus Harrogate at Elland Road, the first ever meeting between these two Yorkshire sides. I don't know if you can call it a derby, because I think Harrogate fans are mainly Leeds United fans. I don't know. It's a friendly derby. It's a friendly derby. It's FA Cup season, the magic of the FA Cup, etc. That's what Harrogate Town fans will be hoping for, of course. And it's a little bit of respite from pressurized league football. For me personally, I'm really, really looking forward to the game on Sunday. And I feel, no disrespect, Harrogate, that it will be a bit of a routine afternoon for Leeds United. We're top of the Championship. Harrogate scrapping near the bottom of League Two. Did get a win at the weekend, give themselves a little bit of daylight between them and the bottom three. But Leeds are an animal, especially in the EFL. We are the team in the EFL. The league table tells us that. And, we're unbeaten in 8 matches now, winning 5 of them. Of course, there will be a whole host of changes going into this fixture. But the 11 that we put out is still going to have quite a few internationals, quite a few experienced players. Farker will want to do well in the Cups. He's always put Cups, with a high, value, really. He did that at Norwich. He got pretty far in Cups, and Leeds United, historically in the third round, don't do well. But, it's a round that we've progressed with under this manager because he puts a lot of credence into the Cups. So like I say, it's going to be a tough afternoon for Harrogate, but one that they will relish. This will be the 3rd season running that we pass the first round, if indeed we do win, because let's not forget, we went out at this stage 5 years running between 2018 and 2022, which is mad, really, when you consider the standing of Leeds United. But it was very Leedsy, wasn't it? It was the Leeds way. But we've now reached the 5th round in back-to-back seasons under Farker. And, of course, prior to that, it would have been March, I think, at the start of that season. That might be the game where Rodrigo got that fateful injury when he brought him on when we were beating Accrington. And the Jesse Marsh fanboys tried to back that decision. It was wild, but hey-ho, PTSD over that period. But Harrogate will have some hope. They have to, the magic of the FA Cup, because Leeds have only won 1 of their last 5 ties that they've played against 4-tier opposition in this competition. So 1 win in 5 against teams that are operating in the 4th tier doesn't make for great reading, and definitely does give some confidence towards Harrogate. We've had some shellackings from teams lower down the table. Leeds were always good for it, right? Histon and other teams of that ilk where Leeds United have been beaten by lesser opposition. I don't think that will happen this weekend, though, under this manager, under this professional group of players that we have. You'll have a lot of players coming into the side that will really want to show their worth, maybe even some potentially looking for a loan exit elsewhere, maybe even at League Two level. I know for a fact that James DeBayo was being looked at by a club in League Two. So this might be an opportunity, if indeed he does start, to show that he can operate at that level and therefore get himself a loan move to go play football. But look, as poor as our record has been against 4th-tier opposition, the last 5 times we've played them, Leeds are actually good at home in the FA Cup, which might surprise a few people. We're unbeaten at home in the FA Cup since a defeat against Arsenal back in 2010-11. So during that time, we've played 5 times at Elland Road, and we've won 3 and drawn 2 of the games there in the FA Cup. So that is a good omen, if you like. And for Harrogate, it'll only be their 2nd time ever that they've been in the 3rd round in their history of the FA Cup. And at that point, when they did last make it to the 3rd round, they were beaten 4-0 by Luton Town back in 22, which is just a couple of years ago now. 3, actually. We're in 2025, aren't we? And to be honest, I see something similar happening on Saturday here, scoreline-wise. That is my prediction. I think we will win the game 4-0. We will, of course, make changes. We know Carl Darlow's coming in. I hope he has a good performance. I hope he's tested so that he can show Farker that he's ready to start in the league. Whether or not he will, I'm not too sure, because Parker's press conference basically led us to believe that he's saying Meslier is still his guy. But whenever Darlow has been called upon, he hasn't been great, if we're being totally honest. So I know it's a much lesser opposition, but he needs to keep a clean sheet for me. In terms of the lineup, I'm not sure how we will go out. This is what I'm predicting. I think Schmidt will play left back. I think Strauch will play left centre back, and James DeBayo potentially comes in at right centre back. Jaden Bogle at right back, just because we're out of options. I think in midfield we might see Crew and Gulavogi. You still might see Ampadu. This is the thing. I think regardless of the opposition, he still might go strong. But I think we should give an opportunity to Crew and definitely want to see Gulavogi start. The three behind the striker, who I think will be Joseph, by the way, I think you're looking at Nonto and Ramazani getting starts, and then potentially Joffy. I think that's the way it may go. He might not go Joffy, and Joffy might be looking at a loan and therefore, doesn't want to risk injury or whatever. You might see someone like Sam Chambers come in. But when you think about the team that we're playing and you look back over previous seasons where potentially we have lost to lower league opposition, we haven't been able to call on the quality that we have now. Who'd have thought, our bench options, our second options include players like to the likes of Joseph, Nonto, Ramazani, Gulavogi. So this squad, although it won't have played together much as an 11, should have far too much for Harrogate. Not least because Harrogate are without their top scorer, Ellis Taylor, due to injury. So that's an issue for them. They're also missing some defensive options at the back. So all things considered, the depth of our squad, even with heavy rotation, will include some top quality operators. Nonto, who's played in the Premier League. Ramazani, who scored goals against Madrid. Gulavogi, who's played at the top of the game for a long time. Caldalo, even, in goal, has a lot more experience. You're looking at Isaac Smith, who was playing in Europe. Pascal Strauch, potentially. Again, this lineup might not be correct, but it will have a smattering of quality all throughout it. Plenty of players with top-flight experience. And that, for me, should mean we have far too much for Harrogate. Like, I don't think 4-0 is out of the realms of possibility. It could even be more. But this is the FA Cup, and we do have to be wary of that fact, because as I've mentioned, our record against teams in the fourth tier isn't great. But under Farker and how serious he'll take the cup, the fact that we have players chomping at the bit, probably wanting to start in the league, I think we'll have far too much for Harrogate. I want Mateo Joseph to get amongst the goals. I want Nonto to have a top performance. Ramazani as well, who we've not seen enough of since he returned from injury. He needs to be back at it, because the last game he did start, he wasn't great, let's be honest, so he has to show something. I'd like to see Gulavogi do bits just because he's my favourite player that doesn't play. So yeah, there's loads to look forward to, and the most, I guess the thing that I'm enjoying the most is that, like, the pressure's off. There's not a lot riding on it. If we were to be knocked out, yeah, of course, Varcouters, etc. But I mean, we're not going to win the FA Cup this year, are we? We'll save that for when we're in the Premier League. But yeah, let's progress. But I just mean there's no pressure on this game. Leeds should win it comfortably, and I'm excited to see some of the players that haven't been getting regular minutes. But I do think, at minimum, Leeds United will win this game 4-0. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, get them comments in, and of course hit that notification bell. And I'll see you for the watch along tomorrow. There'll probably be some transfer stuff either before or after this, I don't know. But enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. Leeds.